Tokyo, Japan. Don't let the neon lights behind me fool you into thinking that this is just a high-tech haven. Yes, Japan did give us Nintendo that changed the video game industry forever. It also gave us Pokemon that changed the entertainment industry forever. But Japan is a country steeped in tradition. Matter of fact, it gave the world its first ever novel in the 11th century, A Japanese Woman. It also gave the samurai to the world. Echoes across all cultures representing discipline and culture. But why we're here is the sport of the gods, sumo wrestling. That's what they refer to it here. So come with me on a journey to learn all about sumo wrestling. We're going to go to a tournament. We're going to meet a sumo. Going to go to a little known fight called Inoue versus Kim, thanks to Kayo. That's right, Kayo has sent me to Japan to watch Inoue versus Kim. I couldn't be more grateful. So let's go and enjoy Tokyo, Japan. And we're actually going to get a private tour with a former sumo wrestler.
So short name is, or nickname is the Bungo.
Bungo.
So please call me Bungo.
Bungo.
Okay, so let me introduce myself. I'm an interpreter of him, and also I'm a tour guide.
So as you can see, this is a former sumo wrestler that's going to take us around town. When I played rugby league, sometimes we would trash talk each other. Do you ever trash talk each other as you're sitting about to start?
そうラグビーの場合は相手にぶつかるときにこう言葉でやっつけるっていうか、そういうこと言うんだけど、相撲はどうなの？
相撲は喋ってはいけないですね。その土俵に上がってない。
During on the 相撲土俵 ring,
Yeah.
we cannot speak.
Ah, okay, okay.
相手を睨みつけるくらいです。
Only just watching.
Ah, okay.
Just watch eye.
So interesting. Far out, it's so interesting.
相手の足の裏を地面につけた状態で、
Did you always want to be a sumo from a very young age?
で、15歳からブロックに入りました。
So when I was elementary school and junior high school, I played judo.
Ah, okay, yep.
And at the age of 15 years old, I belonging to the sumo world. So from the 15 years old, I went to the sumo world until 30 years old. Okay. There are 44 small stable homes, and when once join one small stable, we cannot change.
Oh, wow, wow. So you can never, ever join another stable no matter what?
We cannot change the stable.
Wow.
Only in case of the stable master, unfortunately, died.
Oh, okay,
Or
yeah.
reach the retirement age, 65 years old.
Sumo we've been hanging out with today, Bungo, he's actually on Jetstar ads and Mitsubishi ads in Australia as well, he said. Yeah, good.
New Mitsubishi Fuso Canter with car-like handling, advanced safety features, and our most comfortable cab ever. Please, lots of squeezy.
The squats that they do a day, it's 300 to 400 each side. So that's where they're putting their legs up and down each side. So the reason, according to the Japanese, why the women don't wrestle professionally is because ritualistically, it was actually two sumos would wrestle back in the day. We're talking 1,500 years ago. They would wrestle to the harvest gods to try and get a good harvest on their farms. And the harvest god is a female. And so the reason why religiously, according to the Japanese, that women aren't allowed to do sumo professionally is because they would be almost doing the ritual to another female god, and the female god may get jealous. And so just like a really interesting religious kind of history lesson with sumo. A small tidbit, anytime a sumo wrestler sees each other, and they're obviously all dressed similar, immediately bow to each other, immediately say hi. I mean it's relatively similar to rugby league or sports in Australia. If you see another person that played professionally or whatever, usually say hi, but it's not like automatic. Sometimes it's a bit awkward or whatever, whereas here it's automatic. Immediately bow and say hi to each other and show each other respect, especially the younger ones to obviously Bungu, who is an older veteran. Super interesting. And apparently the feed we're about to grab is what a lot of sumo wrestlers eat. Then we're going to grab a feed and then we're going to go to a sumo wrestling tournament. To say I'm excited is an absolute understatement. I cannot wait. I've never experienced anything like this before. To be able to do it in Tokyo, so exciting. Arigato. Arigato.
Nice to meet you. I am Tak, your guide today. T-A-K. Call me Tak. Is this your first time to watch sumo wrestling?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you excited?
Yes,
Good.
absolutely.
This is called chankonabe, which is very often eaten by sumo wrestlers. I hope you will enjoy today's match.
So did you say this is your first time?
They eat this kind of hot fish almost every day.
Wow. So just had the absolute pleasure of actually going into the sumo's house where they all stay. So basically, first level is the training level. Second level is where the masters stay, second and a half. Third level is where the big dogs stay. So you're talking about like captains and that. Like let's say, when I was playing and we went away, it'd be like Lockie. He'd have his own private area, and then the other half of the third level was all the boys together that were a bit lower tier. So that'd be like rookies like myself. We actually got to meet one of the sumos that are currently wrestling, which is really cool. I'll tell you one big difference. So we went into it, and it's like a little dojo gym. And you go into one in league, and it stinks. There's probably bloody boils everywhere. Look, it's hard work, baby. It's hard work and sweat. I get it. I love that smell. I get amongst it, at least when I was playing. You go into there, it is like so clean, and there's just like no training smell whatsoever. So interestingly, I just asked him as a joke, I said, if you all live together and only the big dogs get their private room, what if you get a missus? And you got to remember, these guys are, one of the sumos I just met that's active, he's 28. And it's just like it seems like such a small cultural difference, but imagine telling a current 25-year-old rugby league player that's playing NRL, that's nearly a big dog, not necessarily, but he's like, just under, and basically saying to him, you can't live with your missus. You have to live in the house. If you want to have a missus, you can have a missus, but she's not going to be living in the house with you. I mean, it's a huge sacrifice, but it's just a part of the culture. It's just a part of the culture. According to legend, the outcome of the Japanese people actually hinged on a sumo match. And according to that legend, the god Takamakazuki won a sumo bout with the leader of a rival tribe, and that is essentially what showed the dominance of the Japanese people via a sumo match. Now, outside of legend, sumo wrestling is 1,500 years old. Matter of fact, you can actually find cave paintings with sumo on it. On top of all that, I think even 700 AD, you can find in the earliest writings of sumo wrestling. That's how ancient the sport of sumo wrestling was. And it actually didn't initially start as a sport. It almost started as a religious practice to bring on a good harvest. Eventually, it became a sport much later, but it started as almost a religious practice initially. Between 15 and 23 is the latest. So 23 is the latest they can get scouted, but a lot of the good kids get scouted at 15. But when they join, they actually do 6 months of theory on history before they do anything. And then they test them at the end of it. So these flags up here are the stables of each fighter. And then over here is the actual names of the fighters in the stable. So just up there, that's the stables that are fighting here. And then up here, that is the That's each individual fighter. There we go. There's a big boy. There's a big, big boy. Wow, talk about big thickies. Big, big thickies. Holy heckers. Arigato. So here we are. First ever sumo stadium.
Don't be shy.
Konnichiwa. Good. Ankoyama. They love it. So cute. So cute. Unbelievably cute. Oh. Big boy. Big boy. So apparently if you win, you get all this. If I heard correctly, you get all this and you get about 77,000 US dollars. 14th day of a 15-day tournament. The top guy, he has 11 wins and 2 losses. And then I think there are 4 other guys on 10 wins and 3 losses. And so basically they all wrestle each other today. So we could define the new, I think, Yokozuna. We could find that today because the old Yokozuna actually retired only a few days ago. And so it's up for grabs now. The big dog is up for grabs and we're going to witness it today. Look at the flexibility. We're talking about 150, 160 kilos. I wonder whether it's like almost like a rugby union scrum where you almost got to get set in the perfect position before you hit. Oh. So the reason why they wear so little is to show their enemy that they don't have any weapons on them, because thousands of years ago, or at least 1,500 years ago, this is more than just a contest or entertainment. Now, what is awesome about today is that we have seats where basically it's like almost like a little picnic. They give you your own little area where you can sit down on the floor and up to 4 people can fit in it. We've got 2, which is really good. But what I love about this is just more evidence of a connection to almost like the history of sumo. You would have to assume before huge stadiums could get built, they would sit in these little areas and watch the sumo wrestle all those years ago, and they've kept that kind of heritage. It is so cool. So I'll give you a look at the angle that we've got at the moment. But when a sumo loses, you never see him react. Like, there is no blow-ups, there is no... You couldn't tell by his body language that he won or he lost, and it's just that control of emotion. So something really interesting. So the referees, they wear a sword essentially, and it's decorative at the moment, but many, many years ago, basically what would happen is that if a referee made a mistake, the reason he'd wear a sword was to commit seppuku, which is suicide, because the ref had made a mistake. Now, obviously, that's a very long time ago. However, nowadays, if a ref makes a mistake in a match, sumo match, he'll go to the board of sumo and put in his resignation. And the board will say, no, don't, you're not going to resign, we're not going to allow you to resign. However, there's an expectation. If any mistake is made, that the ref has to put in their resignation. It's almost like a traditional cultural thing. And they'd be shamed if he didn't. But yeah, back in the day, they would have a knife. They would carry the knife to show people they're willing to commit seppuku if they make an error. Incredible. Just the tradition, the history of it all. So that's their video ref. That's their video ref. They basically, from either side of the mat, they all come in, they talk, and then decide who they believe. I'm assuming they vote on who would win on a very close match. Because sometimes you might step out as the other person flies past you. Wow, that was really interesting to see. No technology. There is literally zero technology. There's no video refs. There's no, AI or lines or whatever. It's just human error or not human error, human decisions, and then discussing it and making the call. So this next match you're about to see is, I think, the top dogs. Not the top dog, but the guy just underneath it that have 10 wins and 3 losses. If they win this, they'll still be in contention to win the whole thing and become the big dog. So huge match up ahead. So the furthest guy away, his name is Oho Konosaki, and he's a big dog, and he needs to win this match to stay in contention to win the whole thing. So this is tournament defining. We'll be going for 14 days. Another huge match ahead of us. Another, both men potentially could win the whole thing. I think this is a 10-3, not 11-2. They need to beat each other to stay in the fight for this next match. Huge match ahead of us. Whoever wins this stays in the fight for the last day. You can feel the tension building. Between each match there's about, 10 minutes of ritual. Now you might be wondering why those flags get walked around the circle where the match is held. That's only done on the big matches, so I can only assume that sponsors say, look, we want to be on 3 of the 4 of the biggest matches. It's not on every single match, so they're advertising for businesses on the biggest matches. We've got about 10 minutes left, and so these last 4 or 5 matches have just been huge. Big fella is wider. So I think that was to end the day, some kind of ritual. I don't know whether it was like almost like a harvesting ritual, because obviously they used to do sumo wrestling to the gods to try and get a good harvest. But yeah, that's the end of the day, 6 o'clock. I think we might have witnessed a guy go too many fights ahead, too many victories ahead, and he might become the big dog tomorrow. But what an amazing day of sumo wrestling, especially those last 5 to 6 matches. It was incredible. Done at the Ryugoku Stadium, and what an incredible first ever experience of sumo wrestling, and the size and the power. And what I love about it, with sumo wrestling, there's no weight divisions. So yes, you've got your big boys, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be the best because you're the biggest. There's guys that are more explosive, more deceptive, better technique. But just to see, like, I hope on footage it shows you just how big and powerful these guys were. They were absolutely huge. Now, apparently over 10 million people tune in to the tournament that we just watched. So it's huge over here. The winner, as I said earlier, I think it's about $77,000 that they can win just for this tournament alone. And so the first, I guess, contestants that you saw, that was almost like reserve grade. Now, I'm pretty sure they get paid full time, but the one underneath that don't get paid to do it, they're almost like apprentices. And then the first grade that you saw at the end of the day, they're full time, they're big dogs. Now, there's only 600 sumo wrestlers in the country at the moment. At the moment, right now, Japan doesn't have, I think it's called Yakuno or Yakuzo. Basically the big dog, the number one sumo wrestler. However, just recently, only a few days ago, one of the best Japanese sumo wrestlers retired. So I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. That was an incredible experience. The connection between their history, their culture, and when we're talking about something that's over 1,500 years old, things that were painted on caves found in Japan all those years ago. What an incredible experience. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, because it's so cool. And it's something you just can't get anywhere else. It really is. Sumo wrestling. Unbelievable. Sport of the gods, I reckon. Sport of the gods. Need me coffee. Need me coffee. Got me Grumpy Coffee with me. Take it with me everywhere. grumpycoffee.com.au if you want to try. Got me pods.
Can anybody guess which one is the...
Here I am outside the Samurai Ninja Museum in Kyoto, and we're about to go on a journey, the history of samurai. And you know, you could argue it's almost the history of Japan. The samurai and Japan are intertwined for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And just their, I guess, the impact that samurai had across Japan, I mean, it's immeasurable.
They use guns in many battles. For example, this one. This one is called the Battle of Sekigahara. And Sekigahara is the name of a place.
So the Ronin, a masterless samurai. And interestingly, you just saw the feudal system. Ninjas were farmers and fishermen because everyone knew the Ronin and the samurai. And the whole system actually collapsed because the daimyo, which is like the leaders of the local leaders, had no land to give the samurai. So samurai said, stuff it, you've got nothing to give us, we'll just take over. So this haircut is actually to cushion the heavy helmets that they used to wear. It's also why sumos have it as well. So that's why that haircut is like that. The heavy helmets they used to wear. Here is the oldest samurai sword that they have here at the museum. "700 years old." And interesting about the swords is that all the information you need to know is not actually, it's in the hilt area where the hilt gets put on the sword. So the make, the model, everything like that, or where it's from. On top of that, they don't date swords by the hilt because that can be replaced. They actually date swords by the blade. And the oldest one here is 700 years old, as I just showed you, and it's in immaculate condition. Here are some of the armours. So here at the top here, that's a rabbit, and the rabbit is supposed to represent agility. It's supposed to represent being quick on your feet. Then the deer horns up here is a messenger from God. The craziest fact of them all, why they had a moustache was because they would send fighters out at 12 years old. And so they would cover their face and have a moustache because they didn't want to be easy targets.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh. The bullseye is actually the chest area, so that's a headshot. The last ever samurai, and he actually used to work for this bloke, which was his emperor. So the last ever samurai actually betrayed his emperor because the emperor was trying to get rid of samurai, saying they didn't need him anymore. So he betrayed him, they went to war. The last samurai lost the war, ended up saying, I was wrong, we don't need samurai anymore, ended up committing seppuku. Initially, samurai were actually hired by the kind of elites or the rulers or whatever to protect their land. And eventually there was a war in, I think, 1192, and the winning clan or faction or whatever set up almost like a military leadership, and that's actually what gave the power to the samurai for like 700 years. I think it was called Minamoto Yoritomo emerged victorious and set up a new military government led by shogun or supreme military commander. The samurai would rule Japan for most of the next 700 years. 700 years. And basically there were ebbs and flows in regards to like their rule, but that's how the rule of the samurai started. So they weren't just like warriors that kind of worked for other people. To a degree, they worked for shogun and the emperor, but they were like the feudal system. They were, I think, third or fourth from the top of the feudal system, a really high class of people, the samurai.
3, 2, 1, go!
All kitted up, as you can see. This like comes over your shoulders, got the helmet on. But I need to know, well, actually I already know, top 5 samurais all time. At least in the combo, surely in the combo. Would you fuck with me if you saw me in the battlefield? Fuck your god. Fucking stab your fuck. I wouldn't fuck with me. Fucking floggy your dog. That's what I'd say on the battlefield. I'll fucking flog your dog. You have it. We've just gone through the Samurai Ninja Museum. Really, really cool. So interesting. Just like looking at the armors. Matter of fact, I think one of the armors, he said, I don't know whether it was like today's value, back then it would have been worth a similar amount. He said anywhere from 500 to 700,000 USD dollars is how much that armor costs. So I don't know if that's how much it cost back then. I think it used to take over a year to make a samurai's armor. On top of that, usually the high quality armor, the better it was. And what I mean by that, like it's an obvious statement. What I mean by that is like you might not be able to tell too obviously what armor is worth more, because you know an armor might have a big decoration or helmet or whatever, and then the other armor might not have a big decoration on the helmet. However, the armor without the decoration on the helmet is actually more expensive. Why? Because of the materials used and the condition that it's left in. And so they actually showed us in there 4 different armor sets, and only one of us guessed, myself obviously, because I played Ghost of Tsushima, only one of us guessed the correct armor, because it looked like less flamboyant, but it was in higher quality, better, kept in better condition. Anyway, that's the Samurai / Ninja museum. I absolutely loved it. So cool. As I said, samurai in Japan, their histories are so intertwined. Now, some interesting things about Inoue. First of all, he's one of the first ever in the 4-belt era to go win all belts in 2 weight divisions. Guess who the other 2 are? Usyk and Crawford. Street Fighter themed. How sick is that? Some interesting things about Inoue. They call him the Monster. And you'd think he'd love that nickname. He actually didn't love that nickname coming through the grades. Usually at his size, you're not going to have knockout power. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that at that size there aren't knockouts and it happens, but it just doesn't happen as regularly as, say, heavyweight, for example. Now, at his size, he's essentially known for his knockouts. That's why they call him the Monster. But initially, I'm pretty sure it was the first gym he was with, the gym owner called him the Monster when he first saw him fight. Now, obviously, he loves that name, but it used to put too much pressure on him. And that's actually totally understandable when you think about it. You're going into a boxing match, you're called the Monster. You're like almost like worried that you have to knock people out. We're talking about one of the pound-for-pound boxers in the world, bar none. Now, a lot of people, especially, I'm sure if you ask, the Japanese, he's number one. If he isn't number one in your books, he's at least one of the number 1 pound-for-pound boxers in the world. Top 3, top 5 maximum. That's how good this guy is. He is an absolute beast. Wow, the best. What you just saw was a girl walking around with a small keg on her back serving beer to people in like a little anime outfit. So cool, so unbelievably cool.
嬉しいです。以上、佐々木劇場の幕開けでした。
To all the side, get my merch, thank you.
こんにちは、大橋ジムの竹井良樹です。本当に申し訳ございませんでした。
I would like to take this moment as my opportunity to apology to everyone.
Wow, I've never seen that in my life. So, as you can just see, that was a fighter that was supposed to be on this card, publicly apologising for the injury, basically saying sorry to the crowd for, you purchased tickets, you came down here, you were hoping to see me fight.
右の怪我をしていた右の肩の方も
And my injured right shoulder is getting better now.
度重なった
Listen how quiet it is. Someone's calling out his first name. Naoya. So a unique thing about watching fighting or boxing in Japan, maybe it's just this fight or I'm not sure, in a way, but they just call his name out. Naoya, Naoya. That's like, it's almost like calling out Tim or Jai, Jai. Just to see Inoue's ability to beat you in so many different ways. Distance management, have a crazy chin, so take your best shot, have so much power that you're scared to throw back. It was just a complete domination from Inoue. 4 rounds of just dominance. Yeah, he got clipped here or there, but it truly was just 4 rounds of dominance. I'll tell you one thing was interesting. So after it, he's like, okay, Inoue's like, I got a Christmas present for everyone. I'm going to throw some signed shirts into the crowd. Anyway, so I'm filming and like, I'm thinking, you know, usually with these things, I don't even bother going for them kind of thing. I'm just like, yeah, cool, that's awesome. Anyway, so I'm filming. And obviously if it lands near me, I'm going to have a dig at it. I'm filming and it lands not only near me or like on me, it literally lands on my seat. And I miss out on a signed shirt from Inoue, thrown from Inoue. Because I was filming, obviously trying to do my job. So that sucks, obviously, being an Inoue fan. But yeah, incredible performance, awesome tickets, thanks to Kayo, obviously, main event. And No Limit Boys, Matty Rose for setting that up. Yeah, it was an amazing event. I mean, what else can I say? It was just like once in a lifetime, getting to watch Inoue fight in his own country, his own backyard, in Tokyo, in front of his home crowd. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Inoue. You know, does he... You know, like there is an argument to say he needs to get out of Japan, and he has fought some high quality American fighters. So like, it's a hard, you know, there are two camps, and he's like, when he has fought the American fighters, he's dominated them. And then there's other camps saying, no, he needs to come and fight other ones. So I don't know. All I know is watching him fight. There's good, there's really good, there's world class, there's good world class, and then there's exceptional, and that's what that's what I watched tonight. Like truly on another level. Something I forgot to mention today. Before the fight, we were in the lobby picking up the tickets. Anyway, so here this guy looks like a boxer. He's dressed all in like kit. Here this guy at the reception with some boxing shorts, and he's Australian, and he looks like a boxer. He's dressed in the full kit, like in regards to like a trackie and everything. So I'm thinking, well, as a fellow Australian, like I've got to go and shake his hand and say good luck. And so I'm like, go over, I'm like, hey mate, I'm Aussie too, I just want to say good luck. Just assuming he was like on the undercard that starts like hours before. Anyway, embarrassing because he was literally just in the corner of Kim, one of the main fighters from South Korea. So I've gone up to a random dude and said, good luck in the fight, and it was a trainer. No wonder he looked so bewildered and was like, what the hell is this guy wishing me good luck for? I'm with a South Korean, unless he's an Aussie saying good luck for South Korea. But anyway, I was doing my duty. As a patriot, as an Australian, to say good luck. Anyway, that's embarrassing. Righty, now we're going to the Tsukiji fish market, which is actually, as of 2018, it was the largest open fish market in the world. During the time, it became one of the biggest reconstruction in the history of, well, at the time of Tokyo, using over 400,000 workers and taking 6 years to get done. So they're all tuna, as you can see here. Wow. That is so good. Here's one with the most fat on it. It's so good. So we're just outside one of the places that sells Wagyu, among other things, tuna, and they've basically got a chef out the front cooking it, whilst also they've got chefs internally as well. I am so pumped, I am so pumped. I hope it's as good as the last tuna. Here we go. Really, really good. And I'm more of a Wagyu beef guy, but the tuna, I've never tasted better tuna, where I've tasted similar standard kind of Wagyu beef, but still really bloody good, really bloody good. Now, one of the reasons why there's not many bins in Japan is because in 1995 there was a terrorist attack by a cult, and they put one of the bombs in the bin, and they also threatened, I think, to put more bombs in bins, and almost like putting the city on edge, worried about every bin they walk past. So the government, apparently, this is told by the locals, so the government essentially took away all the bins and basically told people, you take your trash home. Now, there are some bins every now and then, but mostly you're taking the trash home. Mostly everywhere we've been, we've had to take the trash home, except for maybe once or twice. And it's also, I guess, part of the Japanese culture of, it's so clean here. I cannot express to you how clean it is, and like everyone does their part. So it's like, if you went and bought it, it's your responsibility to make sure it's in the trash at home. Here we go. Tsukiji market's absolutely worth coming, because it's obviously fish market, seafood, all that good stuff, but it's got so much other stuff here, from ice creams to strawberries to coffees to nuts. It's got everything you need to market. It's got whatever you want, iced teas. It's really, really cool. And I tell you what, as I said, the food was absolutely phenomenal. Would recommend the food, especially the tuna. Oh my God, unbelievable. A bit of advice if you are traveling to Japan, don't stay at the big chain hotels that cost an arm and a leg, super expensive. Go to some of the hotels that are relatively smaller, and I get it. Usually you're like, okay, if I was traveling in Australia, for example, and I went to a little motel, be unclean, tiny room. Over here in Japan, there's basically nowhere that's unclean. So the place we're staying at the moment, it might honestly cost $100 a night. It's tiny, and when you walk in initially, you're like, oh my God, like this is really small. I can't even like unfurl all my luggage. But if you take a few seconds to actually put it all out neatly and fold everything, it's a tiny room. It's super clean. Everything is nice, neat. The showers are good. It's just a bit smaller, but it's way cheaper. Like I'm talking, some of the places we're staying at the moment, $80 a night. And if you just take it, let's say that you expanded the size of the room, they would be easily as good as the big chain hotels. The only difference is they're a bit smaller, but they're just as clean, just as comfortable. They've got Wi-Fi, the showers are good. You've just got to be a bit smarter about where you put things. So my one bit of advice, if you are traveling to Japan, go on like booking.com. Don't go to the chain ones. Go to the ones with heaps of reviews that say that it's really clean and nice, because I'm telling you, you will save like not just hundreds, thousands of dollars. So yeah, that's my advice. If you are to come to Japan, find places that have really good reviews, like 4 to 5 stars out of 5, and talk about how clean and nice the places are. They're way cheaper, way better. That's my advice.